Why do you value taking care of your health to help run a better football team? Why is it so important to you?
Well, but, as I go, everyone else goes, because everyone's looking to me to set the tone and set the pace. I have to be at my best, and I can't afford to have a bad day. That my health is paramount to being able to be at my best.
Welcome back to another Rest, Eat, Move podcast, and today we're in for a really big treat. I've learned to love this guy over the last couple of years, and his name is Mel Tucker. He's the head football coach at Michigan State University, and he's going on his third year, coming off 11-2 record and winner of the Peach Bowl, which is incredible. Our whole community is going crazy. He's married to his wife, JoJo, and he has two sons, Joe and Christian. And a beautiful thing my daughter told me about Mel's two boys, that they have the same birthday.
They do.
And they're 2 years apart. That's unbelievable.
It is, isn't it?
He turned 50 January 4th, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, played football at Cleveland Heights, and then went on to the University of Wisconsin. Again, I'm going to let him go elaborate a little more. He was at the University of Colorado, Jacksonville Jaguars, and many more. But welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us. We're here at your amazing palace. We walked in here and I'm like, what is this place? This is the headquarters of Spartan football. So take us down a little path early on.
Yeah, sure. And thanks for reminding me that I turned 50 not too long ago. So I was trying to get past that. I thought I had dealt with
partner,
it, but now you brought back
you got a long ways to catch up to me.
Some emotions, so I'm still working through that. But no, yeah, sure. So yes, I'm from the Cleveland area. I went to Cleveland Heights High School. I graduated in 1990 and I went to University of Wisconsin to play football for Coach Alvarez. I was in his first recruiting class and graduated in 95 with an ag business degree. And then I decided to get into coaching in 97 here at Michigan State. Coach Saban recruited me when I was in high school when he was the head coach at Toledo, where my dad played. And so I wanted to be a defensive back coach. At that time, Coach Saban was regarded as the best defensive back coach in the country, college or pro. And so I called him up and he hired me as a graduate assistant. So I was basically the lowest guy on the totem pole here for 2 years, making $400 a month, coaching, being a graduate assistant defensive back coach for Coach Saban, but he helped me get a full-time job and for the 99 season at Miami of Ohio. And then when Coach Saban left and went to LSU, I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to coach with him there. So I was his defensive backs coach there. And from there, I went on to Ohio State, where we won a national championship with Coach Tressel. And then I went on to the NFL for 10 years. So Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville Jaguars, Chicago Bears.
So after you were at Ohio State, how did you get into the pros? I mean, was it just an opportunity? You had connections, all of the above?
I think it was all of the above. It's kind of funny you asked that, because the first job that I got at Miami of Ohio, like I was actively trying to get that job. Like I needed a job. I mean, like I had no cash. I was like, I gotta get a real coaching job. And so I actively sought that job, and that was actually because of a relationship that I had with the new head coach. He had recruited me when I was in high school, and he remembered me, and so, but after that job, I have never looked for a job. And so, in the college game, the players are being scouted by the NFL pro scouts. They're scouting the players, the college players, all year round. But I found out very quickly that they're also scouting for coaches as well. And when you're at a place like Ohio State and you have good players, and you develop good players, and they see you developing good players, and they go on to the NFL, then people start to take notice. And I believe that's what happened with me. We had a lot of success there, a lot of good defensive backs that were going on to the NFL that we developed there, and I had a role in that. And so, Phil Savage, who had ties to Nick Saban from the Cleveland Browns days back in the day.
Sure.
And he was he became the general manager for the Cleveland Browns, my hometown team.
Sure.
And
here we go.
Yeah, Romeo Cornell was named the head coach, and he had just won a Super Bowl with Bill Belichick, who also has really strong ties to Coach Saban. And so, I had an opportunity to go home and coach for my hometown team, the Brownies, man. And so that was, connections, there, Jacksonville, Chicago, back to Alabama with Coach Saban, then on to Georgia, University of Colorado as a head coach.
And then along the way, like you said, you weren't really looking for.
No.
They're just talking about it, different opportunities.
Yeah.
But you kind of know it gets to a fraternity where everybody's kind of nosy who's out there. And then, so before we jump into a couple of things I want to ask you, so you're at Colorado. You've been there, what, a few years? 1 year?
1 season.
1 season, right. Yeah. So how does this come about?
Coach D'Antonio retired. The day before the February signing date, and so there was Michigan State was looking for a head coach, and I had Michigan State ties.
Sure,
it was my first.
Right,
our first job was here in '97, and I'm from Cleveland. I went to Wisconsin. I'm a Big Ten guy, and so it kind of.
Did you kind of have to pinch yourself a little bit and say, okay, this is where I started, making $400? Was it a month?
A month, yes.
A month.
Yeah.
So you're at $400 a month, and now you're the head coach.
Isn't that something?
That's something. That's craziness.
Only in America.
So if you were talking to people like, what was it? I mean, that's just craziness that you could be from that position, and it was in '97.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's not that long. I mean, It seems kind of long for you, but maybe not. But
those 2 years here were long.
Right.
They were like dog years, man. But I learned a lot. No, it's almost like a fairy tale type deal.
It's incredible. Yeah, like you said, only in America. So there's a lot of words around here. I've gotten to know you. We did some training together. One of the things I really, when I first met you, you were a learner. You were curious, and people in your position, sometimes they're in a hurry. I never really felt that with you. You were really, I want to learn this stuff. I want to learn how to get better, whatever. But that curiosity. But I see a lot of stuff in here, relentless, process driven. But I want to talk about effort for a minute. How do you evaluate effort?
Well, I've never been asked that before. How do I evaluate effort? Really, what I'm looking for in a big part of our culture, and it's really the foundation of what we do, is having a relentless mindset, and that's high velocity and that's nonstop. And so I can always evaluate what someone's doing by how relentless they are. Are they? If a guy's running to the football, does he have upper body violence? Are people going about their business with a sense of urgency? And a lot of times you can evaluate people or situations based upon experience. So having won 2 national championships, being a part of staffs that won 2 national championships, and playing for a third, and being at the NFL level, and all the experience I've had, I know what extreme effort looks like. I know what that looks like. And so for me, that's the standard. And we're not ever going to lower the standard for anyone. People have to raise their level to the standard. And so then the question becomes, well, how do you relate that to the players? How do you teach effort? How do they know what the standard is? Well, then it's the delivery of the information. You're talking to them about it, and then you have to demonstrate that. You have to lead by example, and set the pace, as a coach and as a coaching staff. And then we have to also show them examples of extreme effort, whether it's in football, or it could be basketball, it could be any sport, it could be any endeavor, video, photographs, audio, anything that you can do to get the point across to capture these young men's minds, you have to do. And so that's how we go about teaching and coaching effort and the other things that are critically important to the culture of our program.
So high velocity, how do you, I guess I'm not quite sure what that means.
It means speed and urgency. And, we're in a hurry, but we're not rushing.
Okay.
And so it's how we go about our business. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, all of us. And, we're competing at a very high level. And, at the top where the very best compete, success is measured in inches. We don't have time to waste.
Right. So that's the urgency comes in, and then the velocity is the speed. So you love to talk about 1% better. That's kind of what your theme is like, how do I get better every day, day in and day out?
Yeah. We talk to our players about the aggregation of marginal gains. Everyone getting a little bit better. Everyone in our organization, myself, the coaching staff, the support staff, the trainers, equipment, strength and conditioning, the players, everyone getting just a little bit better every day at something.
Sure.
And you add that all up, you take all of our marginal gains, our micro gains that we make every day, you add that up, that's how you get better, and that's how you get better fast. And that's what we've been able to do here.
Well, I know you brought a dietitian on. I think that's the marginal gains, correct?
Yeah, well, the gains that she's helped us achieve have been more than marginal.
Right. I bet. I've heard some of your players talk about it, how it's helped them so much. So how do you motivate your team, coaches, yourself? How do you stay motivated?
Well, I think motivation is something that's relatively, temporary, and it can be sometimes fleeting. Inspiration, and being inspired and inspiring people, I think is more long lasting. And so, first and foremost, we have to have a purpose. And, part of being, a member of a team is bonding to something that's bigger than yourself. And so when we state our purposes to reach our full potential, we don't want to leave anything on the table. We want to reach our full potential, and ultimately, we believe that will lead us to championships. With that being the goal, and that's what we aspire to do, then the people that are part of this organization have signed up for that. And so everything that we do, all of our actions and our behaviors and how we live every day, which is our culture, should reflect that. And so I'm very blessed and fortunate. I'm surrounded by a lot of people that are have the inspiration that's intrinsic. It comes from within. They're self-starters.
Sure.
And they don't need to be told, what to do. A lot of times they just want to know, how do you want me to do it? Mm-hmm. How do you want me to do it? And they're going to give 100%. Now, there are people that need more inspiration than others, and that's where competition comes in, because this is not a recreational situation here. This is not the YMCA. Everybody doesn't get a chance to play. Right. And everyone doesn't get a chance to stay, coaches and players. So, and competition is in a large part about comparison. And so when you're comparing one individual to another individual, it's usually the difference is the effort, okay, and the inspiration, and the desire and the motivation to get something done. And you can see that in what they do, not necessarily what they say. It's all about what they do. Like your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. And so, in a competitive environment, it's cliche, but the cream should rise to the top.
So when you're thinking about analyzing talent, how do you know if they're inspired or is that something they learn the culture when they come here, or is it a little bit of both?
Well, every day is a test. Okay, and we have things that we need to accomplish on a day-to-day basis, and we have a lot of competition, and we try to create an environment internally here that will be harder than what we see in games, and so it's a pressure cooker.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that. The practices and the environment's much more challenging than any game will be.
That's the goal, and so we create that environment. And that's the expectation. And then when individuals are faced with pain and pressure, you find out very quickly, what they're all about.
I remember last year I was with my daughter Kristen and her husband Sean, and we're watching the U of M game, and it was really looking bleak.
You mean the school down the road?
That school down the road.
Yes, sir.
And I just because I just know that's what I felt. It was relentless. I'm not giving up. It's looking dark, but we just kept going and going and going, and then just slowly the momentum turned. And I was thought to myself, gosh, that was just inspiring to watch. And that was probably one of the happiest games I've ever watched. That it looked so bad, like there's no way we're going to win, and we came around and we won. And I think that relentless thing just kicked in. I'm like, gosh, that's what Mel's talking about. These guys didn't give up one bit. They're going 900 miles an hour. It's all positivity. I think I look at that sometimes, that when you're on the sidelines, it's once in a while you get in somebody's face, but most of the time it's more of a cheerleader, keep going. The whole team's thriving on that. I mean, we brought your coaching staff in for a training. I could kind of feel that, like everybody, Harlan Barnett comes over and gets some of our products, and I just feel that. So I think, like, how does that happen? Is it intrinsically that they already come with that, or is it as a team that you build that culture of relentlessness?
Well, that's part of our culture, and we're really bought into neutral thinking. As a staff and as a team, we preach that. And in neutral thinking, is we're not going to get too high, we're not going to get too low. We're not going to judge situations. We're not right or wrong. We're not good or bad. It just is what it is. And based upon what we know to be true and what to be factual, what we know, then that determines what we need to do next. What's the right next step? And do next is the doing is our actions. They're actions and behaviors, and those actions and behaviors create the outcome. So whether we're up 16 or down 16, it's really about what do we need to do next. And so we just keep chopping.
I love that word, neutral thinking. I've never heard of it explained that way, where I'm just keep doing the process. I'm focusing on the process. Other question I want to ask you is, how has recruiting changed over the course of your career?
Well, there's the availability of the information is really the
big game changer.
The big game changer in my mind. I can remember, and that's because of the internet, social media,
sure,
things like that. I can remember, like back, before I went to the NFL, I'm at Ohio State, and we would have spring ball. then we would go out as assistant coach. We would go out on the road in the spring for a month and recruit. We would go out and we were actually looking for players. We had some awareness of where players were because if you were recruited in that area before, you knew some of the younger guys that were coming up. And there were some recruiting services. I remember the John McAllister report. We sit there as a staff, and John would go around and we purchased that service, and we would know. But that it wasn't like you were out looking for players, going from school to school with questionnaires and blank VHS tapes and asking coaches like, do you have anybody?
Right.
And they bring, they put the tape in and they would show you who they had, and then you had to go to the next school. And it's like, so at that point, it was how many schools can you hit in one day?
Right.
Because you had an area that you were responsible for, and you were praying to God when you got to a school that you hadn't missed someone who's already been offered by Penn State
or
someone else.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like that anymore. We already know where the players are.
So the transfer portal too has obviously changed everything.
Oh, the transfer portal is changed everything from in college football. It's a roster management challenge, but it's also moving more towards like a model that you will see like in professional football. So in pro ball, you have the college side of it and the draft and the pro side of it. From a personnel standpoint. So the general manager, he has a staff, and he has one part of his staff. They're on the road, and they're scouting the college players. Then on the other part of his staff, they're scouting their team and the 31 other teams to be prepared for free agency.
Sure.
And so that's kind of
who's here and who's over there.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is. With the portal is, you got we recruit out of the high school ranks, and we also recruit from the portal ranks. The biggest difference between the NFL and the portal is that the NFL, who's going to come up for free agency.
Right.
You can anticipate who's going to hit the market.
Yeah, you can't tell in the portal.
In the portal, we got a guy down there pressing refresh every 15 minutes on the portal.
Right.
Looking for names to pop up. You just don't know.
Yeah, like how does Walker come out in the portal, right?
They pop up.
Right.
And then there's a mad scramble to get him evaluated, and then next thing you know, you get him on the phone.
Right. Here you go. Right.
Here we go.
I love it. So obviously you've been very successful in your career in coaching. What are a couple of the key things that you think have made you very successful in your career?
I've gotten a lot of help along the way. Really, I've been very fortunate to have really good people around me, head coaches that I work for, assistant coaches that I work with, players that I've coached, that I've learned a lot from players that I've coached, college and pro, and just been able to be a sponge and learn from others, learn the right way to do things. Sometimes you learn, what not to do as well. And just continue to add those experiences to what I'm doing.
What are you doing differently now, or what have you learned that you used to do maybe early in your career? Anything pops out at you that I used to do some of this new stuff that I've learned this along the way?
Well, along the way, I've learned the art of delegation, which is very important. You can't be all things to all people. You can't be in two places at one time. And so really delegating and trusting the people around you to do the job as good as you would, or maybe sometimes better.
I know you place a lot of value on relationships, connection, family, and culture. And obviously, I think for the coaching and the relationships you built along the way, that's just gold. I mean, I'm looking with all the people you've had in your world. if you said, hey, there's a couple mentors along the way, who would stand out as a mentor for you? Maybe a few of them.
Well, my dad was my first coach. He's in Little League Baseball, and he's in the Hall of Fame at Toledo. He played football and baseball, and so he taught me, a lot about sports. He laid the foundation for me from a sports standpoint, at a very, very young age. I mean, since I can't remember making a conscious decision to play sports. It was just kind of what it was.
This is going to happen, right?
Yeah, this is what it was, and he taught me everything that he knew about sports and competing and coaching and the coaches that he had. And he coached me, and I watched him coach my teammates, and things like that. And so he had a tremendous influence on me. Obviously, Barry Alvarez is a Hall of Fame coach.
Right.
I was in his first recruiting class when we went 1-10. I saw him build that program basically from the ground up. We were Rose Bowl champs our fourth season there.
Yeah, so I look back on that. So what did he do when 1-10, and the next thing you know, you're Rose Bowl champs?
He had a plan. He had a process. He had assistant coaches who believed in what he was doing, and he was unrelenting. And he was an outstanding recruiter.
So all of the above.
Yep.
So he had a plan. He had a process along the way.
No doubt.
All right. So I want to ask you a few health questions. Why do you value taking care of your health to help run a better football team? Why is it so important to you?
Well, but, as I go, everyone else goes. Because everyone's looking to me to set the tone and set the pace. And so, I have to be at my best, and I can't afford to have a bad day. That my health is paramount to being able to be at my best. I have to be, rested. I have to be alert. I need to be consistent in my performance so everyone knows what they're going to get from me each and every day. And so, and I have to be able to sustain, and I have to be resilient. And, when I'm run down and when I'm not in good health, then I'm not at my best.
So give me a couple of your health practices that you do every day to kind of have that consistency of your performance. What does it look like in Mel's life?
Yeah. I eat breakfast every day. Something that's, it's usually oatmeal on the go.
So what are you laughing about that? Why are you laughing?
Because you turn me on to that. You turn me on to that, and it's too easy.
So easy,
It's too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah, it's too easy.
I remember when you first came in, like, why oatmeal on the run? You don't have to cook it. No, it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, I dropped 5 of those wheatgrass cubes in a glass of water, and then I go hop in the shower and I come back. It's ready to drink, and I make sure that I eat lunch, and I make sure that I eat dinner, and then I have snacks along the way, and I make sure that try to keep junk food out of my sight, and have things around me that I know that taste good and are healthy,
good for you,
and good for me.
Yeah.
That gives me the best chance because, I work some really, really long days. You know how that goes. Like, you're working, you're starting to get a little fatigued, and you get hungry.
Right.
You're gonna grab something.
Well, that's what I was talking to you one night where I remember I'm driving home from work and you're driving home from work, and I go, Mel, you got to eat, because if you're not going to eat, you're going to eat whatever.
That's right. It
doesn't matter. Nobody's willpower is forever, right?
That's what I've learned to do. Really, recently in the past, couple of years is just eat during the day. Mm-hmm. Like eat. When I'm hungry, like eat the right things, because I wouldn't eat as much during the day, and then I'd be starving at night.
You lose your mind at night.
Losing my mind at night. I couldn't sleep, and then I go down there and raid the fridge, and next thing you know,
that's what we had to talk about. I remember when I first came, we started getting together, but you didn't question anything. You're like,
No.
if this is going to be good for me, I'll do it. I don't care what it tastes like. I go, Mel, you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to torture yourself. You can actually enjoy this.
Yeah.
And so I think you've learned that. And
I have learned that.
yeah, you learned that along the way. So here's another question for you. Is it possible to have a top 5 football program, Division I, and also have great health as a coach? Is it possible?
Absolutely, it's possible, especially if you have good players.
Well, that's a big part of it. I think sometimes people in your profession, your level, sometimes they'll discard their health to, try to be successful.
I agree with that 100%. I think that coaches pretty much do what they've been taught to do,
right,
or what they've seen done. Like when you're coming along in the business, and if you're working in an environment where where health is not important, or people aren't sleeping and you're winning, then you think that that's what it takes to win. And everybody, we pretty much will do anything to win, So, but I've been fortunate. I've been around coaches that had really good sustainable pace, and were efficient and effective in what they were doing, and were able to have a process and work that process and trust the process, and that's what we
trust
do here.
Trust the process, right?
Yeah,
including your health. Yeah,
that's right.
Because when you brought your coaching staff in for you brought them over to our place for and again, I've talked to many of them still on a regular basis. I think they felt the same way, that you valued it. And so it wasn't like, if you didn't value it, the leader, then they're probably not going to value it. But obviously you do value it. So I think many of them started buying into more of that.
Yeah, I think that was around Christmas time. And how many, a lot of our coaches are veteran guys, and Christmas, like what else do you need? Like, right? Like, you want another tie, you want to give you a gift certificate
you brought
here,
them over
sports
for
card. Yeah.
Right?
I say, let's go over here and let's go
that was a Christmas present from you.
Yeah, let's get better. Let's go over here and get better, and I'm going to pay for it. And let's go over here and let's
get relentless in our own personal health.
That's right. That's right.
So I got another question here. So talk about your relationship with Coach Izzo, because I know you guys have a great relationship.
Yeah, we do. Coach Izzo is the man, and see, I've known Coach Izzo for a long time, because like he was here when I was here.
Yeah, when you were starting as your $400 a month grad assistant.
Yeah, and so we didn't have like the relationship that we have now, obviously, because I was just that guy, but I was always around Coach Saban. Like I was around him a lot, and when Coach Saban would have functions in his basement, like recruiting functions or anything, I was always like the last one to leave, because I was like on the cleanup crew. I would stay back and wash dishes and help Miss Terry put stuff away and do whatever needed to be done. And Tom and Loopy, they would usually hang out afterwards, because they were really tight with Nick and Terry, And so I was around him, and I knew he was a great guy. We went to LSU. I saw him. He came to a game. It was at Alabama, and Nick's daughter got married. I saw him down there. So I knew that he was a great guy, and I knew that he was a people person. He was down to earth. He was tremendously successful. And so actually, before I actually came here, I wanted to talk to Coach Izzo, just to know, I just wanted to talk to him.
Give him the landscape a little bit.
Yeah, not even so much the landscape. I just want to know, like, hey, could I talk to Iz? I want to talk to Iz, and so, and I did get a chance to talk to him, and it was great. And so, he has been very helpful to me, because he's been here for quite some time, and so he can help me navigate, the landscape. And really kind of encourage me and my staff. And the football program and the basketball program here have always been pretty close with the coaches and the players.
Sure.
And I think it's very helpful as a new coach. Like, for me to come in, having been gone for so long, and to come back and have Coach Izzo standing next to me.
That's fantastic.
And he's telling people, hey, get behind this guy, get behind this guy, get behind this guy. I mean, that's very helpful because he has credibility.
For sure.
You know, and has earned credibility, and people trust him and believe him. And if he's going to say, hey, give this guy a chance, then people are probably going to
give him a chance.
Give him a chance.
Give him a chance. And then you got Alan Haller.
Yeah, Alan, another, he's been here.
Right.
You know, played here, football, ran track. He grew up here. He was in the police force here.
Yeah, we went to the same high school.
You guys. I heard about some of the stuff you guys were doing back at the MAC and the little
the Battle of the Titans.
The Battle of the Titans and the deal that.
It's a picture in the book.
Is there?
Yeah, I'm standing right next to Haller.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back in the day. In fact, when he came out of pro football, he came over to the MAC, and I heard him as a fitness staff. So back to you being the grad assistant, I mean, he was way back in the day, and he was always a gem.
Yeah.
He was always a gem.
No, he's first class.
Yeah.
He's in pretty good shape. He could probably still do one of those classic
He
Titan
still
deals.
can run probably like a deer. Yeah. All right, a couple more questions, and we'll wrap this up. No, this has been awesome. So my daughter Kristen wants me to ask you a couple questions. What's your favorite meal?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, give me a couple.
Because, I really like those Buddha bowls. You know, for some reason, I just like those. There's like a lot in there.
Right.
And they taste good, and they're just too easy, you know.
Right. They're simple. It was interesting today, like I was going out the door because I think she was over my father-in-law's 90th birthday is tomorrow, so my wife and Kristen are making food, whatever. And my son Matt made some food for you last week or whatever. And Kristen was saying, Mel is a dream. He'll eat anything.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, that kind of makes me sound like me because it doesn't matter. As long as I think it's going to be healthy for me and it fills me up, I'm happy with it. So the Buddha Bowl, okay, that's a good one. I know the oatmeal and the run is easy. Nobody can mess with that.
Yeah, I like that.
What are a couple things that people don't know about you? Is there anything that the listeners might want to know a little more about Mel?
That they want to know? I'm not sure, but
or they just
I'm a little bit of a I would say I'm a little bit of a tech geek.
Tech geek.
Yeah, maybe so. I like gadgets.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I like gadgets. I have a lot of gadgets, and I have a lot of moving things
I see
around
some
me.
things in your office
I like to have stuff moving around, like perpetual motion type stuff, and always.
So you like gadgets?
Yeah.
Steven mentioned that you enjoy watching birds in your backyard, so you're a bird watcher. Is that true?
I do that. I do that, and I relax with that sometimes. I'm not like a pro or anything like that. I go to the bird store,
that's kind of geeky.
Bird store. I guess it is a store.
So if you go to a bird store,
and I buy a book, and it's got the birds in the area.
Okay, that's something interesting.
Bird feed, bird seed, and I got the bird feeders.
The feeder. So you're watching them attack that.
So it's not like I'm out. I'm not out like searching for birds. I'm attracting the birds,
right?
And then I can
You're mesmerized by watching them.
Yeah, and I can watch them there.
The other thing too, what do you like to do in your spare time?
What do I like to do in my spare time? Well,
you don't have a lot of spare time right now. I know that.
But in
your spare time, what do you like to do?
I like to. When the weather's nice, if I can get some golf in, I kind of like that. And the reason why I like to do that is because I play in outings and I meet people on the golf course, and I get asked to play golf, and it's a good way to. I mean, it's just a good time to go out there and with friends or you meet people.
It's fun,
but no one likes to play with a guy who can't get off the tee. You slow everyone down. Who wants to play with a guy you're always looking for his ball? So when I have time, I like to practice so I can be representative.
I see. So like Gerald Ford back in the day, fans were ducking when he's playing golf because he's spraying it all over.
Yeah, I haven't been in one of those deals where the fans are lined up on the side. I just don't think that's not a safe thing to do right now.
Right, I get that. I played with JoJo last year and Paula Cunningham, and we just had a ball. Your wife takes a cut at it.
Yeah, well, like my dad used to say when I was playing baseball, don't get cheated up there. take your cuts.
Take your big swing at it. We'll have to play some golf this summer for sure. We got a bunch of buddies we know in common that we could go out and play with.
Yes, we do.
All right. Anything else you want to share with the listeners about Mel Tucker?
Yeah, I think that I remember when I first my dad is the nicest person in the world. My dad is. He's both of my parents, but like my dad and I have the same name, so people when I was growing up, people would,
you're the second.
Yeah, they would say, hey, Mel Tucker, is your dad's? Yeah, and I say, yeah, that's my dad. They say, oh, yeah, he's a great guy. He does, and they would tell me stories. So I've always wanted to be nice to people. My dad's always really nice to people. So when I got into coaching, early in my career, I remember when someone told me that nice guys finish last. So that's always been a challenge for me to kind of debunk that. I don't believe that nice guys, necessarily have to finish last. So, I want to be a nice guy that finishes first.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel like that you have a lot of kindness to you. My mom always taught me kindness. And it sounds like your dad and your mom both taught you to be nice and kind to people.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not be kind and nice and finish first?
Yeah, that's doable.
It's doable. Like your health. Can you have your health and be a successful coach? Yeah. So.
Yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can.
No, this has been great. Again, thanks for taking the time today. You're a real gem. We're happy to have you in this community, and I wish you health and happiness for you and your family. And again, thanks again for taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me. Go green.
Go white.